One of the biggest mistakes people make, particularly with neck pain, is they wait months before getting it checked. Today, I'm going to show you clear signs that can tell you when doing all the self-care is appropriate, but also when it's time to seek professional help. This video is going to be for anyone debating if their home care routine is working or if it's time for some further clarity. And by the end of this video, you'll have the clear signs to decide for yourself what the next step should be with confidence. The good news is that self-help is often plenty when your neck is responding well. The scenario where it is going well is that symptoms might be mild or they've just come on recently. Movement will start to feel easier after doing these exercises, not just temporarily, but for days and weeks. And if you do have flare-ups, they settle down pretty quickly, faster than they used to, instead of just dragging on for weeks and weeks. But most importantly, you're regaining that quiet confidence to be able to move your neck without that fear and second guess of just if I turn, is it going to kink or become a problem? When you see those signs, good news, your neck's responding. The system is adapting in a very helpful direction and you're trending forwards. You're not just stuck in that same loop where things weren't improving. Now, just to be sure, doesn't mean to ignore it completely. It means keep going, keep supporting it consistently with the small inputs that we've covered. And most people will do well with this self-help, but there are a few signs that you'll notice if your improvement starts to plateau. Those signs are things like pain and stiffness keeps coming back at predictable times. Things like long periods of sitting in the car, maybe at work, certain movements, or towards the end of the day. Other things might be just that the neck never really fully clears that stiffness. There's always just this baseline tightness or restriction lingering. Or you might find yourself just not having that confidence growing. You still feel tight, bound up. Like when you want to turn, you don't feel confident turning your head and you have to rotate your whole body. You may also find certain directions to stay guarded, no matter how consistently you stretch or reset. If this is the case, you've plateaued. You're not getting worse, and that's important to note. But you're just not breaking past that plateau either. And that usually points to something that's not shifting, whether that's mechanical, structural, could even be neurological, just with those home efforts alone. Something I see all the time in practice is that people base how they're feeling based on short-term indicators such as pain, rather than long-term indicators of true health of the spine. And if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you'll know that I've said so many times, pain is not a great indicator of health. Pain goes up and it goes down day to day, sometimes for no reason, sometimes because you haven't slept well, sometimes the weather's changed, sometimes even what you've ate. But underlying that is function, how freely things move, how it holds posture over time. These sorts of things are much better long-term indicators because these changes happen slowly over time. You can feel noticeably better after a good stretch or getting on a foam roller, but that doesn't always mean that the adaptation or restriction has actually changed that much. Now, don't get me wrong, feeling better is great, but if that movement pattern stays the same, those symptoms are often going to keep returning. And that's how so many people end up in these cycles where they're just constantly managing flare-up after flare-up instead of actually getting down to the root cause of the problem. So if you do end up needing professional help, something that people let me know about all the time is that they might be concerned or worried about what it's like to be assessed. Now, just to put your mind at ease, getting checked doesn't mean that you're immediately signing up for endless treatment over years and years and years. It's simply about gaining clarity. Now, what that looks like is we start with your history, what you've noticed, what helps, what doesn't. Based on that, we'll likely go through something like a posture assessment. We're checking how you're holding your body up and how you move. We might do different types of testing like orthopedic tests and neurological tests. And then we can do nervous system scans to see how the signals are flowing through your body. And finally, if it's relevant, we can get different scans done like X-ray to look at structure under the surface. But we only do that if we feel it's going to add some useful information to what we're looking at. Now, before we'd even start treatment, we explain everything clearly. First of all, we look at where you are now and what that means for the function of your spine, and then how it compares from where you are to where you want to get to. And because we've done all that testing, we're not guessing. We've got objective measurements that we can see where you're at, and we can even measure that over time to see how you're progressing. Now, of course, If after all that, you're just not the right fit for us, we'll say it directly and we'll guide you to the right person that's going to be able to help you with what you're dealing with. Okay, so quick recap. Green flags. Keep supporting things at home. If you find a plateau, it's guarded movement, it's not lasting change, that's when it's time for a more clear assessment. At this point, there's really two options going forward. Option one, keep supporting it yourself. If it's working well, just keep doing it. Stick with that routine, keep it consistent, dial down those daily postural stresses where you can, and then of course, track this trend over the next few weeks. If with this routine, you're seeing that steady improvement, even if it's small, that's the green light, keep going. Now, option two is get clear answers on your neck. This is especially important if progress has seemed to plateau for you, or your confidence is moving in the wrong direction, or you're just sick and tired of the guesswork. Now, this is where a proper assessment is going to remove the uncertainty and give you all the information you need to make a solid decision for what's next. Now, another option is if you'd like a better picture of this before deciding anything, this is something we cover in our neck pain webinar. This is where we walk through the different posture patterns, how to use these routines effectively, and also exactly how to think about when self-help is enough versus when we might need to look at some testing to make more sense of things. This webinar is available live, or if you missed it, we have it on a replay. You can watch it at your own pace and take away what's useful. I'd love to see from you guys in the comments. If you're currently in the keep going or get checked camp, comment that below and subscribe for more of these decision guides. Webinar links below if you want that framework first.